Hi everyone, Vickieverlie here, and today we're going to do a reading on the Lion's Gate. This is an annual event, but the astrology is a little bit different every year. We're going to talk about an overview about the astrology for this year, and then we're going to go through sign by sign and show the house systems, and then we're also going to pull a couple cards for each sign. Okay, so here we go. So this Lion's Gate, it's this 8-8 energy. It happens every year in the sign of Leo. And it's when the Earth aligns with Sirius and Orion's belt. So these Sirius, Orion's belt, these represent these higher dimensional fields that we're able to align with, that we're able to open up to. That's why a lot of people will call it portal, because it really is a portal. And we can gain higher wisdom. You know, there is some tie-ins to death and rebirth, because I believe it's Osiris is associated with some of this. So it is a transformational thing too, but it's a transformational thing through enlightenment ultimately. This year is kind of interesting because also we have in Leo at this time Venus, who's making a very long stay in Leo, and Venus is at the higher degrees and it's trining the North Node, which has just moved into the sign of Aries. So the North Node is always our highest good in life. What we're striving for, what we're looking for, why we're even here on this earth, you know. And it has just moved from the sign of Taurus, and now it's in the sign of Aries. And it's trining the Venus at the moment of this Lion's Gate energy. So Venus is very positive energy. This is very much, and the North Node is very much calling us all to our highest good, our highest calling. You know, this Lion's Gate does come every year, but every year Venus isn't making a long stay, and it's every 18 to 19 years when it's trining the nodes. So there are some different things that are going on that are unique to this year, just like all the astrology readings that I normally offer. I'm not offering this as an individual reading, but you know, I do have readings available on my site. So if you want to, if that's something you wanted to look into, I still do have my one question reading, which is, I've never raised the price on it. It's still $50, very affordable. Or even if you just want, not sure if you want to get a reading, and you know, you don't have to lay out a ton of money to, you know, experience my 30 years of giving reading style. But anyway, so what we're going to do is go through each of these signs, and we're going to see where this Lion's Gate portal is in your astrology wheel. And this would be more geared to your rising. So if you know your rising, you definitely want to watch your rising on this one, okay? And then I'm also going to pull a couple cards for each sign. I just forgot about something. I need to get my little sheet out that has my marker so I can mark off all the signs as we do them. Okay, so we're going to start with the sign of Aries, as always. Now, you know, the node has just gone into your sign. I'm going to address that more in the monthly videos coming up for the August videos. But, you know, this is also something, if you were more interested in, you could get a reading on. So you're really being called to follow your true north, all Aries, whether you're sun, rising, moon, or anything. We all are, but it's in your sign. You're leading the way. And as I said before, I think the strongest thing you could do with this as far as a lesson is to follow, you know, be true unto yourself and be accountable unto yourself. So this Lion's Gate is coming through in your 5th house. So this is very powerful for creativity, love affairs, especially because Venus is involved. You know, many of you could be falling in love. This could be a higher type of love. If you've struggled in that area, you could have some big awareness about how perhaps what your role in it is. You know, you can become accountable, like, well, maybe I need to try to do, you know, approach this a little bit differently. Or, you know, if every one of my exes is the same problem, then maybe why am I attracting that? Or how can I change that up? And there could be some big enlightenment and some big, you know, breakthrough, really a breakthrough for many in that area. 5th house is also creativity, because it could be flashes of genius for our, you know, our Aries friends. And we're going to pull one. I think it's just going to do one card now that I'm doing it. I was going to do a couple, but I think one card for our Aries friends for this Lion's Gate portal, this turning point for Aries. We have the 9 of Pentacles. So something that you're doing maybe just for fun or a creative adventure could really turn into something very prosperous for you. You know, Pluto is in your 10th house again, but you could be building some kind of a business, building some kind of, having some big awareness about how prosperity, and being prosperous enough to have time for pleasure. Because if you look closely at the Nine of Pentacles, of course she is in the garden, you know, she's not worried about her finances, and she is having time for pleasure, you know, putzing about in her garden and having this, the bird talking and playing with her bird, and she's like a lady of leisure. So make time for leisure, make time for fun, and prosperity, you know, will follow. I want to use the term, you know, do what you love and the money will follow, because the 5th house is love, of course. Okay, next we're going to move on to the sign of Taurus. Okay, Taurus, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4th house, so it's in your 4th house. And it's interesting, I wasn't really going to bring this in as much, but it's actually, the planet of Sirius, it's a fixed star at 14 degrees of Cancer, which is the 4th house of birth. So really giving birth and nurturing yourself, but also giving birth. This is a time to, you know, examine that, take a little inventory in that area. What are you giving birth to? How is your self-care? How is your self-love? How is your home environment? How is the ground or the foundation in which you're planting these seeds? How is it tended to? Because you can't plant seed, well, you could try, but if you don't tend to the soil and tend to the foundation and nourish that soil and put the compost in and all that stuff, you know, you're not going to get the best results. So tending to that foundation, making sure your foundation is solid and fertile, you know, fertile and nourished, and that nourished the foundation of your life, or whatever you're trying to manifest at this time. Okay, let's take a look. Let's get one card for the sign of Aries. 2 of Rods. So this is talking about, this is more of the planning stage with the 2 of Rods. This is more, I'm going to zoom in a little so we can see this a little better for everybody. How's that? Oh, how about right there? Okay, yeah, so this is a time of really making that plan, seeing the direction you want to go in. And what I always like to note on this card, you know, he is holding the world in his hand. So even though he's only in these beginning phases, he's looking out, he's making a plan. It is a foundation. I mean, the 4s are more of a foundation, but this is for sure a foundational card. It's a new beginning. It's number 2, so you're at the beginning phases. And 2 is also the moon number, and Cancer, the 4th house energy is the moon, so it's lunar. So it's nighttime, and in the node is in your 12th house, so there's an element of night, dreaming, the subconscious mind, engaging with the subconscious mind, looking into almost like your crystal ball, you could think of that world, and planning and seeing the future, the road to go ahead. Okay, next we're going to look, I keep wanting to move the stone stays in Leo. Then next we're going to look at the sign of Gemini. So Gemini is in your 3rd house, which is where, you know, that's your jam. You are 3rd house ruled. That's where the house of Mercury, that's where, you know, that's your house of communication. What you're speaking, saying, thinking. There's coming through, I feel like, with a lot of knowledge, because there's definitely an opportunity for knowledge and downloads during this Lionsgate portal. So knowledge, wisdom, learning something new, learning a new skill, having that communication skill, having a free flow of, like, I'm getting like back and forth or Q&A, like answers to your questions, whether it's in a real mundane level, like the 3rd house can be, it's just I'm talking to you or I'm reading a book and you're getting the answer. Or the other side of it, the higher mind, is that bringing in from that higher dimensional, because that's definitely, so thinking outside the box, looking at things from a higher perspective, changes in your thinking, changes in your usual way, you know, by how we just turn on our automatic pilot in our day, breaking out a little bit of that automatic pilot and, you know, kind of reaching a little further to see what's really out there. Okay, Gemini, let's see what your card is for the Lionsgate portal for our Geminis. The Tower, you know, I had a feeling I was going to pull the Tower. That's so weird, and I did. Well, yeah, Tower is big transformation, big transformation. Sometimes, you know, the Tower can be that you need to really, it can be outside forces. The Tower is usually like, can be a build-up of these different energies, and then, bam, it just changes. It doesn't always have to be negative. As a matter of fact, it's just part of life. You know, death is, here's words from my song, a song I wrote a long time ago, On Our Way to the Moon. It was, death is only change, and then your soul is free to fly. So yeah, that's in a real literal sense. But, you know, big changes, the old path not working anymore. But also it could be things coming, you know, something breaking free suddenly. Maybe, you know, you've been on that hamster wheel. You've been round and round with some kind of an idea or, you know, a thought pattern. And there's something that happens that just breaks you right outside the box. But for sure, with Tower being your card, big transformation is afoot. All right, well, next we move on to the sign of Cancer. And this Lion's Gate is in your sign, your house of money. So every year at this time, it would be time to do something with money. Excuse me. This year we've got, it's going to be up here, what, in your 9th house, right? Or is that the 10th? No, the 10th. The Venus, or the North Node, has moved into your 10th house there. You know, Venus in the transiting Venus being in your 2nd house too, you know, this could absolutely be you could really be rocking that money stuff right now, Cancers. Also, it's kind of your jam, because like I said, it's aligning with the Orion, or the Sirius, and Sirius is at 14 degrees of Cancer, so it is in your sector, and this is your sister sign, your neighboring sign, so you're definitely in the mix. It's super powerful for finances, money, or raising your status in the world. That's going to be an ongoing theme with the North Node, but this is more about that Lion Gate. Let's go ahead and get the card for Cancer. The Lion's Gate. We've got the King of Swords. King of Swords is a person, and maybe an air sign person, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. So maybe this year it could be something that was started back in the time of Gemini that's sort of coming to fruition now. King of Swords always, a lot of times, does have to do with legal things. Signing of contracts. This could absolutely happen with these configuration. Some kind of contract that would boost you up into the, or if you are involved in a court case, this could be either winning the court case or possibly connecting up with this person that is going to be a help and of value to you they're coming through with. Okay, now let's move on to the sign of Leo. Well, this is your big moment in the spotlight, Leo. Are you ready for your close-up, Leos? Because here it is. And also the fact that the Venus is there and it's going to be staying in your sign for so long. You are, talk about turning on the charm. If you weren't charming enough, Leos, because you totally are so charming to begin with, you're going to be even more charming, even more magnanimous, even more in the spotlight, and that attraction factor is going on big time. Now, with the nodes, let's see here, 7th, 8th, 9th, in the 9th house, you may, want to try some new and different things. You may want to break outside of, in your life in general, but also just like through knowledge. A lot of knowledge could be coming your way. Looking through in a more expansive view. Finding or attracting a lover or attracting a mate, but attracting anything you want with this long-term Venus. But definitely the spotlight's on you. Magnanimous. How can you be even, with the Venus though, it's not always about the attraction either, because what I wanted to just say just now what the guides are coming through with, how could you be even more loving? Can you be more loving and caring towards others? Because it's always a reciprocal thing, it's not just take. It's always going to be a give and take with any energetic exchanges and frequencies. So let's go ahead and grab a card for Leo, for the Lion's Gate. You've got the 7 of Cups. You're manifesting, you're dreaming your reality. Sometimes with the 7 of Cups, especially with this Venus, all this energy, you might be having a ton of, I get like that. I get on these streaks where I'm just filling up notebooks and I have all these tons of ideas coming through. And sometimes you gotta let's rein it in a little bit here. Let's reel it in. That's what the guides are showing me, reel it in with the fishing wire. Reeling it in. I need to write that down. Reel in fishing. That was just a thought of talking about all my ideas. That was a thought that corresponds to something else I've been working on. Yeah, but reeling in those ideas and kind of making hay while the sun shines, because after all, the Sirius is the brightest star in the sky, and it's shining in your sector, so, and you are a bright shining star. So while you have this spotlight, and then of course, your new moon and everything else is going to be coming up, reining it in, and let's say, well, what can we really do with this? Instead of letting it scatter and all over the place. Try to really rein it in and focus on maybe 1 or 2 or even 3 projects or 3 modes of utilizing this manifestation energy. Yeah. Okay, Virgo is next, and Virgo, you know, this is going to be in your, I lost my pen, here it is. This is going to be in your 12th house, and every year it is. And the 12th house is the sign of, or the sector of your subconscious mind, your dreams, your intuition, but it's also the past. And then the Venus is there. So some of you, there could be some, you know, lover from the past coming in, perhaps. And then the 8th house here could be some kind of a financial thing with the 8th house, your North Node in the 8th house. It's going to be a good time frame overall with this North Node in your 8th house to attract investors. But it also could be very much a sexual energy. You know, people think, oh, Virgos are such brutes. Oh, that's not true at all. No, Virgos are very caring lovers. You know, they're very caring, and they want to make sure that they want to please and make sure that, you know, they do a good job. But so there could be some kind of really strong sexual thing going on. But for most, I feel like kind of being in a little bit of a dreamy state. But just because you're in a dreamy state doesn't mean nothing is happening. If you haven't ever meditated or tried automatic writing or just, you know, anything, you know, find that time to get that peace and quiet, because you could really be getting those major downloads. And reflecting on the past too, I'm also feeling. Okay, Virgo. 4 rods, so changes in your home environment. They're saying like carving out a nice peaceful place or like a peaceful nook in your home where you can, you know, maybe just curl up with a book or a journal, or placing out in your yard, in your garden or something, like some kind of a place where you can have that peace. And, you know, there does seem to be happiness and love showing up. For some, maybe somebody from the past. But also you could really manifest that right now too by working with the power of your subconscious mind in the 12th house. Alrighty, well, I keep saying alrighty when I'm doing these readings. So one of my guides likes that term. It's not something I walk around saying in my regular everyday life already. But anyhow, let's look at Libra. Hey, Libra, so this is going on here in your 11th house of friends, associates, and groups. So it's a good time to connect. I mean, Libras, you're so sociable anyway, so it's not far outside your wheelhouse to be in that social, you know, environment. But you could really, you know, make some different kinds of connections, or maybe you just have different kinds of interactions. This is going to be so powerful over the next couple of years too, because the node being in your 7th house, you know, you're going to definitely be, you know, partnerships are going to be a major focus over the next couple of years. They're kind of showing me like pulling them out of the herd. You know, you may find people in your larger groups, in your larger social circles, that, you know, you may be, you know, having more of a one-on-one relationship with, or, you know, maybe you guys all always go to this thing together, and then he's like, hey, want to go get it, you know, have coffee or get, you know, have lunch or get a drink or something, and you start hanging out in these one-on-one relationships that are plucked from, or, you know, they're showing me like a dog, like how a dog will herd the sheep. So I don't know if that has a special meaning to anybody in particular, but yeah, time for party, time to socialize, group activities, and other things are going to come from it. Well, 2 fell out, so I'm going to give you 2. Oh, 3. Well, we'll give you 3, Libra. Looks like there's going to be some kind of an end to some kind of, they want you to step back. They want you to step back from some friction or conflict that you may have been going through with, either with a fire sign person, which is Aries, Leo, or Sag, or, you know, there's that representation of what we're talking about here, the Lion's Gate. But the Hangman is definitely a time to kind of step back, and you may get enlightenment about the groups that you do belong to. Like maybe there is an element of competitiveness, or, you know, you might not be so wanting to be so deeply immersed in. You may be, because there is an element of this death and rebirth thing too. You may want to be purging some of that in lieu of, or in, you know, in favor of, I should say, you know, smaller one-on-one relationships. All right, well, Scorpio, every year this is going to fall in your 10th house. So good time to make those career moves, or get that career thing going, or whatever you're striving for up there in the 10th house. you know, the node has just moved into the 6th, so it's time to really align with that that thing that you are passionate about in your work, and it could lead to great success. This is definitely a do what you love and the money will follow, or do what you love and the success will follow. It's a time to be seen in the world. You know, a lot of times Scorpios, you guys can be a little bit reclusive. I'm Scorpio rising. I know it. You know? And I've always been like that. I always said I was a night owl, and I was just figuring out recently, I don't know if that I was necessarily a night owl, but I would stay up half the night just because I needed the peace and quiet and the break from people and noise and everything. You know, I needed that, always needed that quiet alone time, you know. And this isn't really going to be the quiet alone time. And if you're trying to launch something or push some kind of a project, you're going to be able to get a lot of work done and put it out into the world. This would be a great time to put it out into the world. You could really see big strides in your career sector during this time frame, especially with the Venus there. All right, what's one card for our Scorpio Sun, Rising, Moon peeps for Lionsgate? Getting that money, getting that financial reward. You know, the 6 of Pentacles, I always think of, some people say it's charity, and I guess it is, like alms to the poor or something, and maybe that's it. But I always felt more, I always leaned toward this is earned money for some reason. I know that's not necessarily, again, the traditional thing, but for me that always meant like you worked hard for it and you earned it. Well, you know, what I'm getting at it, what I'm looking at it right now, it's just like you make enough that you could actually help others. You know, you could get to a position, or maybe it's even, you know, people in your family or your own kids or something, you know, maybe you could, you know, help pay for their college or something like that. But, you know, it does seem like you're in a position to give, you're in a position to succeed. There's a lot of success surrounding you, Scorpio, through hard work and effort, though. But, I mean, Scorpio, you're down for that. Scorpio doesn't back off of that one bit. Okay, let's see here. Now, Sagittarius this is going to be, let's see here, 7th, 8th, 9th house of higher mind, higher education, which is your core house or your ruling house in the flat wheel like this. You are the ruler of the 9th house. So this is, again, right up your alleyway. And Venus, it could be something that you find that you're just so interested in and that you want to learn about and know more about. Some of you, you know, you could be falling in love, you know, with this North Node in the 5th house. And it could take you to a foreign land. You know, you might fall in love with somebody who's maybe in a physical different location from you, like, you know, in a foreign land was such an odd thing to say, but, or maybe, you know, just there, either you'd live in the same place, but their culture or whatever is very different. But it would be a learning experience, which says you're always down for a learning experience, you're always down for an adventure. Good time to travel, you know, you get away from that home base. You may discover over the next couple of years a new home base. Many of you may be relocating or, again, going to a different place. Okay, let's get one card for our Sagittarius friends for Lionsgate. This top one wants to come. Nine of Rods. So being a little bit on guard. You know, well, sometimes when we're faced with coming out of our comfort zone, you know, well, not the 4th, the 5th house. That's actually the 5th house, but I'm not going to recant on that whole home thing, because sometimes the guides work in mysterious ways to get us to move. But this is love affairs, you know. Some of you may have been burned in the past, you know, and you're reluctant, or you're just reluctant to go to this different place, you know, and that's the bigger picture messages of these Lionsgate is we're downloading from higher dimensions that are outside of, maybe outside of our comfort zone, certainly outside of the norm of the masses. And what did the guides just tell me today? I'm going to grab I was channeling this morning I went down to the lake to do my channeling, and they were just talking about, what did they say? I want to find this because I feel like it's totally a message for you. Oh boy, I hope I can find it. It was like beyond this illusion of this world that we're living in, or something like that. Oh darn it! I guess I'm not going to find it real quick, because there's a lot more than I thought. Oh, maybe it's on this page. I'm going to just take one more time. It's one more second for you guys, hopefully. No, I guess I'm not going to find it. But the gist of it is, let me just tell you the gist of it is, that this is all an illusion. You know, we become comfortable in these illusions, and then we just, you know, we forget that we are this higher being, and we get we get defensive, we get, I'm not going to find it. I just saw it as I closed. It was talking about something about sometimes astounding ways. Yeah, these portals can open up certainly astounding ways, but like we don't see that, you know, we're guarding our little area, or we want to stay. That's not a usual Sagittarius thing. But since this card came up, if you think you're expanded, well then expand even more, expand even further. That's what the guides are coming up with. Yeah, but a beautiful time to travel, learn something new, have a new thing that you're going to learn. All these sorts of things. So Capricorn, every year this is going to be in your 8th house of, well, sexual, death, taxes, rebirth, sexual stuff. But investors, I mostly think of this as investors. And also, you know, some of you, if you own a home, because this node is down here in your 4th house, you could definitely be attracting money of people who want to invest in you, or grants, or programs, or what's the other word I'm looking for? Well, just where people, you know, give you money, a loan. For some of you, with the housing prices being high as they are now with this North Node in your 4th, you may be able to have a lot of equity in your home that you may be able to borrow from, or maybe do some fixing up of your home, or use. Equity comes through really strong, so you have equity. I feel like you have equity no matter which way you slice it, is what the guides are coming through with. You have sweat equity, you have home equity, you have put in the work, which is, you know, surprise, surprise, for Capricorn, that's what you kind of always are focusing on. And you could make a lot of strides in this area, or, you know, coupling up with a business partner, or co-investing with somebody else. You know, you could definitely make some, this is something really crazy, but somebody you're going to do, and I don't feel like it's lottery numbers, but it might be some kind of an amount that maybe you want to ask for, or a figure that you're trying to come up with. And this is way out there, but it's coming through so strong, I gotta tell it's for somebody. It's something about your home address is the it's the number. That's the number you need to use for this other thing. Or maybe even if it's not your home address, maybe it's the home you grew up in, your home address that you grew up in. That number is significant in some kind of financial dealings that you're doing now, if you're trying to find a number. Again, that's just probably for one person out there, but boy, did that come through strong. All right, let's go ahead and get the one card for our Capricorn friends. Oh, I got two, so we're going to go for it. You got the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, so it could also be maybe, you know, you're kind of in this place where it's like, well, because Four of Pentacles can be a little bit tight with the money, or you're not certain what to do. Maybe if you're trying to swing it on your own, some kind of a project or a business, or even if maybe you're flipping houses, you may want to look into bringing in this outside investor or partnering up with somebody. And if you've been considering that, you know, this would be a very powerful time to do so. You would be aligning with the right people, and generous people too, with the Venus there, and people that you would get along with the Venus there. All right, let's go on to the sign of Aquarius. This is over here in your 7th house of partnerships, your one-on-one relationships. So very much tuned into that area. You could fall in love because the Venus is there, but you could also have, you know, just somebody really cool show up that you just hit it off with, you really get along. If you're in a long-term partnership, you know, there could be something really great happening for your partner, but that also, well, it makes you happy because you love them, of course, but just that makes you happy because it's going to not only help them, but help everybody, you know. So maybe they get this great new job, and then, you know, it affects the whole household or the whole family, you know. Yeah, because there does seem to be some news coming, you know. There's going to be a lot of negotiations and different things going on, and people coming and going. And some of you may actually be moving to a new neighborhood, or investigating new neighborhoods, like going on drives around and, you know, physically being in this new neighborhood that you want to live in, like driving around there. For somebody, that's a thing for sure. Or maybe you're going to be getting married, and then you're going to be, you know, getting your first place together. So maybe you want to drive around and just look at these different places and see what's up. But major relationship stuff should be good, could be good. There's a lot of power and emphasis there, a lot of enlightenment about it. Again, your role in it, or perhaps, you know, just many different things to many different people, but major enlightenment coming through in that area. And with the Venus, you know, positive and good vibes and good stuff. Queen of Rods. So that's the fire sign energy. So some of you may be, you know, it's the Leo energy, what we're talking about here. But some of you may be even getting involved with a Leo. And that wouldn't surprise me at all. You know, you see Aquarius-Leo matchups all the time. That cat is really standing out to me. So for some of you, maybe you see their cat. I mean, I was just, what I felt like was being in a park and like, oh, what a cute dog. But it's a cat. But people don't usually, I guess they do, but most people don't walk their cats out. But maybe that'd be the thing. Maybe that's the thing for somebody out there. Or maybe you're at a pet store or whatever, or on a cat group online, you know, some kind of a group where a cat picture group or video or something. I don't know. But the cat is, or somebody's name, for somebody for sure, it's somebody's name, cat. And I'm getting Katniss Everdeen, which is, of course, that Hunger Games thing. So maybe there's some tie into that, too. But, yeah, so definitely meeting people, perhaps a fire sign person. That is a very strong connection. And you have a lot to talk about. You get along. You have a lot to talk about. Oh, I'm moving the wrong thing again. Okay, Pisces. So Pisces, this is going to be in your 6th house. Now, I've been telling you, Pisces, right along, haven't I, about how I know you're dreamy, I know you're mystical, but this time when the Saturn's in your house, you really can be building these foundations. You can work hard right now and really build this foundation, and then you can kick back and be your dreamy, mystical self. Or, you know, probably it's right in there. The North Node is in your 2nd house. You've got that incentive to make that money, get the thing. You could find work that you really, really love with the Venus, long-staying Venus being there. Finding work that you really, really love, that you really get fulfilled at. If you are in the market to look for, you could find somebody, perhaps you could find somebody at work. Or I always say it's not necessarily an office romance when these kind of things show up about, you know, meeting somebody, you know, because of your work or because of your job. Because if you go to a new job, then you stop a different place to get gas, you go to different places for lunch, you stop a different grocery store on the way home. So there's all kinds of other ways that it puts you in contact with different people than if you were just at your old job or if you were just working from home. Oh, here comes your card. The Rods person again. And when that came out, when I said, here comes your card, I heard, here comes the judge, here comes the judge. That's an old-timey, what's that from? Some comedy. Oh, Laugh-In. Here comes the judge. I think it's Flip Wilson maybe even. Well, you got that Queen of Rods again, but I want to give you one more card. I'm going to cut and I'm going to give you one more card. The Ace of Pentacles. This fire sign person is going to be potentially lead you to have, you know, this Ace of Pentacles, this new beginning in money, or just, you know, a new job is very much could be. You got the North Node in the 2nd, 6th house, new job. You know, I'm feeling like for some of you, maybe you haven't had a day job in a really long time. And this, what I want to say, this is a term my ex-lead singer used to say, because he would get jobs and then, you know, for a little while, he worked for a while and then he'd do music. He says, I'm just gonna go money up. So he's just getting some money, then he would take off and live for a while, you know. Or what just popped into my head was, what was that movie? With the biker dude, oh, what is it? And he was the same way, and he worked construction, and then he got some money, and then he was free for a while, you know. So I feel like for some of you it could be like this, but for some of you it could be like you love it so much that you don't want to quit after, you know, you got enough money. You're like, man, I'm going to keep rolling with this, especially with that Saturn in your 1st house. Alright, everybody, well, thanks so much for tuning in for the Lionsgate reading. Hey, just a reminder, I don't have a special reading on my chart, but I do have psychic readings, and I've never changed the price of the $50 one-question reading. So if you're new to the world of getting a personal reading, or you wanted to just try me out, I mean, that's very reasonable for one question. There's other readings too, you know, but that one is always there. It's almost kind of like just to get your feet wet or get a sample reading. And you get a lot in on that one question reading, because I worked on the psychic lines forever, and I'm very conscious of, I go fast, because I was always like, people were paying by the minute, so I was always trying to, you know, and my guides they come fast. You know, if you watch my videos, you know that sometimes I'm like, blah, 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 and I'm trying to just talk really fast just so I don't forget what comes through. But at any rate, this is a very powerful time for manifesting. I hope you do well, and I hope that you guys can really use the information that I gave you. If you find the information that I gave you interesting or useful at all, give it a thumbs up, you know, give it a like, hit the subscribe button. That's always appreciated. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.